So another interesting meeting with Ohio Beans, Bullets, and Band-Aids. Just in case anybody wants some information, I took some video on some food preparation, and hope everything makes sense. If you have any questions, for God's sakes, get on the get on the Facebook page and ask. We're going to be doing some food storage investing for the group individually, so make sure you get to us, get some questions, any kind of suggestions. We're always open to new information. If somebody needs something that they need to learn, ask the questions. Let's keep a discussion going here.
An oxygen absorber. You can pack dry without an absorber, but you've got to remember to do one critical step. After you put those into a bottle, freeze them overnight. In a pasta especially, you have what are called weevils, little pasta weevils. Basically it's a little bug, a little larvae that's actually in the wheat, the seminal of wheat, when they make the pasta. They'll hatch and grow, and they'll eat your pasta. And if you ever pulled pasta out of your closet or out of your cupboard and you've seen dust coming out of it, that's the residual of what's left over from that little weevil. And the way to kill it, it'll be in the beans, rice, or in your pasta. Whenever you go to store it, if you're not using an oxygen absorber, it is critical that you freeze it. The oxygen absorber will suck up the oxygen and they'll die from lack of oxygen. They won't go in there. But if you don't freeze them, or you don't use an O2 absorber, they'll hatch and eat and destroy your food. The point of doing this the way we did is I wanted you to visualize what we're looking at here. And everything I brought in here today costs a little over $200, including the bin. The bottles are free, and all this food you see here is enough to sustain a family of 4 for well over 30 days. Add a little bit of stuff to it, you're well beyond that. But the point is this is your base, this is your start. And in my opinion, this is the minimum every person in this room needs to have stored at their home. Minimum. Okay, we're going to open up the absorbers. Everyone who saw this earlier? They're going to explode! Oh, wow, that was exciting. Gain your joy. Okay, 1, 2. Here, somebody else do this. Put 2 in each of these for me, please. Here's with a quickness what you've got to do here. Find the top of your bag, find the milled or factory edges, like this. Make sure you got a good tight seal. Compress out the air that you can. Take your seal across the top of something like this level. This level is perfect for this. Just fold it over. Hey, that's the last one, right? Yeah, that was in it. All right. It's not complicated. You just use heat. Heat against the metal edge, and the heat will seal the mylar. But the only problem you got to be careful of is watching for creases when you do this. I want you guys each to come over and take a look at this in a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, I put a crease in this so you can see what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to fix the crease. So you know how to fix it. So you see both. Just use your heat to seal the mylar to itself. That bucket's done. Fold it in. You see how it's got a pillow of air? You come back to this in 3 or 4 days, that'll be sucked down so tight it'll be like vacuum sealed. All you do now is
you put that seam that sealed the top of that bag. So
absolutely. That's the point of putting it at the top. You actually see it sucking in now already. See that? Put the seam at the top because if you ever have to open it, cut below the seam, you can still reuse the same Mylar bag. A lot of Mylar bags have a cut or notch in the edge. These type do. Not all of them do. Sometimes you want to put a little crib in that so you got something to rip if you ever need to. But I don't like it because it makes them open up. You look here, you see where I made the crease? That crease is not completely gone. It's stuck down nice and flat and sealed tight. Well, that's the seam you got to look for. Simply fold them in, bucket the lid. Put the lid on the bucket. about earlier. It's up here, everyone take a look at it. Any questions on anything at this point?
Any of that for sale?
Brings up a good point. We talked about this before. There's enough of us here that are getting into the long-term food storage. We as a group want to start selling buckets of stuff to ourselves. It is so much cheaper to buy this stuff in bulk, even more than what you're buying at like Sam's and whatnot. Now, if we're buying 500 pounds of rice, it's a whole lot cheaper than when you're buying 50. When you're buying buckets, you can buy used buckets from the bakery, or you can get new ones. In cost, this was about 14 bucks. We had $1 for the group, so we create a fund that the group can draw from. 15 bucks, you go home with 25 pounds of rice. Anybody want to buy into something like that? Now is the time we need to discuss it. Now, we came up with a program, a group of us did, and an idea of how to do this, and we bulk purchase different items each week or each month. And if everybody spends like 50 bucks a month, you go home with 50 bucks worth of food, already packed and stored, long-term storage. Nobody's doing all this by themselves. We as a group can pack them up when we're all here together, divide the stuff up equally, keep track of who got what. That way nobody spends extra, nobody gets screwed, and nobody gets stuck fronting the cost for all of this. If you guys are interested, now's the time to speak up. Yes? Yes? That's a yes, I think.
Chris also put a list up on there. I don't know if anybody got a chance to look through that, compare prices, but he.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff, Chris was getting some bulk prices on stuff for us, and it's going to be good for things like powdered milk, and a lot of that stuff. A lot of that list was for bakery supplies, which aren't necessarily long-term supplies, but
Yeah, but they have powdered milk, the potato flakes for bread, the
Right.
hot chocolate in the 25-pound bag.
absolutely great deals on all that stuff, and all that stuff stores wonderful long-term in a 5-gallon bucket. We can go through that. Through him, we can get a lot of stuff bulk. Through other suppliers, we can get other stuff bulk. And I think it's an important thing for all of us to do. Hell, I personally think we got to come up with what's a starter pack. You know, where you get 2 things of rice, 2 things of beans, another thing of corn, and 1 of sugar, 1 of salt. Put that all together, and for like $100, you go home with, 6 or 8 buckets. That's my opinion. But I don't know if everybody wants to spend that much money all at one time. You guys have to get with yourselves and figure out what you want to do. Do you want to put up 50 bucks a month? Do you want to put in $100 a month? The only thing we ask is that you be consistent for the first year or so that we do this, so that we don't get screwed and stuck with 500 pounds of rice and somebody says, I don't need any more rice, I'm good. And then we're stuck with 500 pounds of rice we have to divide up somehow. So as long as everybody as a group wants to do this and commit to it, we'll put it on paper and make an organized system out of it, and everybody can join in. I'll put it up on the Ohio page. Anybody knows people from the other groups, or that even aren't members of the group that want to participate, this is a great way to bring people into the group. And then this will be a once-a-month thing. When we get together to do this, you're coming with your money and you're going home with food. So nobody's out anything. And at the same time, you know what's going in those buckets because you're going to be part of the group. It's going to take 20 minutes to an hour. We'll do it as an assembly line, and we'll just fill them all up until they're done, and then divide them all out, and everybody goes home with equal amounts. Any problems with that? Any comments or suggestions?
prepaid, paid advance.
I think it's a necessity to do it prepaid. I myself fronted the money to buy all this food because I plan on, basically, I just increase my food storage another month or so. If you want to, if somebody wants to buy some of this long-term stuff I have here, I'll cut it loose. You can take it home. It's not my only stuff. But it's all up to you guys. And